I was actually hoping to release this video a few days ago, but life got a little bit busy. I was not totally happy with the video that I had in mind, and I scrapped it. So here I am doing a different video, and I thought I would make kind of a short one because honestly, this past weekend was super busy. I had lots of stuff going on, and I didn't really film much. So it is what it is. But in part, what I have been doing has been, I think, kind of interesting, kind of exciting. I'm planning a trip, and I'm also planning a shakedown trip. So, for those of you who are not into backpacking, a shakedown is basically a short trip that you take with your backpacking gear and basically make sure your stuff fits, make sure you're comfortable in your pack, kind of finesse little things, make sure all your gear works. So, like, you've got all the things that you need to set up your shelter, got all of the appropriate cook stuff if you're cooking. So, yeah, I'll be planning on doing that in the next few weeks. And then hopefully starting to plan my slightly bigger trip, which will be about 7 days, 8 days. And I hope to film that. I guess the other thing with the shakedown trip is this girl here has never been on a backpacking trip. So I want to make sure that if we do an overnight together, that she will be okay. So we are going to go someplace that's local and do a proper walk-in to a spot and camp there overnight. And there is also the potential that I might buy a new tent. So if I get that before I do the shakedown, we will definitely be testing that out because I I like showing up to a camp spot, and especially after hiking kilometers in a day, you just want to go to bed. You just want to eat food and go to bed. So that is something that I want to be able to do quickly. I want to be able to just get that tent up and fall asleep. And the best way to learn how to set up a tent is not when you're tired, but before you leave home, before you even set foot on a long distance trail. That's a little pro tip there. Um, and also, if the gear, like if you bought new gear, and if it doesn't work, you have a chance to return it to the store. So that is also a plus to doing the shakedown hike. Um, yeah, I want to do that. We're thinking probably May, so end of April for the shakedown and May for the big trip, possibly June. I'd like to get out there before it gets too hot and before fire season starts. What else have I been doing? I've been working on my animation stuff. I am basically just doing tutorials on how to make a ball bounce, funny facial expressions, and that sort of stuff. And it's super fun to play around with. I might try and incorporate one of those goofy little animations that I've made into this video. Just not because I think it's good, but just because I think they're silly and they're fun, and it's fun to share the funny, silly, behind the scenes kinds of things. So I'll probably put that. I've got one in mind. I'll put that one here. Yeah, when I was at my parents' place for the weekend, and well, it's a bit longer than the weekend. It's about 4 days, and they live in a much busier area. So I did do some hiking with Pepperoni over here, but she and I were on a super busy trail. I was not expecting this trail to be this busy, which is kind of cool, but also like, holy cow, like uh, hiking has really blown up in the last few years. Like, I think I was seeing a person every 3 minutes, which for a day like the day that it was overcast for most of it. It started raining, and it wasn't very warm. Uh, just kind of took me by surprise that there were that many people on the trail. But it's also great to see that people are taking advantage of the great parks that we have and getting outside no matter what the weather is like. So, in that regard, I say that's great. But because it was so busy, I never really felt like I could find a spot where I could do a quick little video or just filming stuff in general on that hike was not easy. It was mostly uphill and then downhill. And I just personally find it so much easier to film on flat ground. And I'm going to wrap up the video here. All right, see you later, alligator.